feeling like I'm academics. Can't ride no
Complex. They have dropped, I think this is their third iteration of the hip hop media list. Obviously, I think some of you guys know last year they gave me the spot of number one. I was according to Complex and their editors and writers, I was the number one hip hop media personality in the game. Okay? Now, what they took into account, and we'll actually read it here. Let me see. And this is a power ranking according to them. Now, we're going to read a little bit of this. I'll get into the list in a little bit. We're going to actually go through it. They said, when it comes to power and shaping a culture, the divide in hip-hop media has never been more chaotic. On one side, there's the old guard. There's the podcasters, radio DJs, resident unks who interview vets and break down the nitty-gritty, album sales, the state of the genre, and who's in the top three right now. They're focused on upholding a traditional ethos, trying to preserve what hip-hop used to be, and there's a good chance they sat down with the clips for their rollout. On the other hand, there's a wild new bunch. There's the streamers, YouTubers farming clips all over the internet. They're tapped into an underground, deep and niche pockets, often taking their audience on experimental adventures or orphan behind-the-scenes access in ways traditional media just can't. In this day and age, merely reacting to new rap music in an entertaining way can qualify as hip-hop media. Fittingly, this split mirrors the current musical landscape, defined less by superstars and more by thriving micro scenes, pushing the genre forward. The tension is front and center in this, our third edition of our annual hip-hop media power ranking list. And this year's list might be the most controversial yet. In a fractured ecosystem, there's a few shared opinions, just zealots advocating for their lens. So let's get to the ground rules, okay? When we say power, we're talking about cultural influence, the ability to move conversation and dominate headlines. These are the figures who hip-hop moments consistently go viral and shape the broader discourse. Most of them work across multiple video platforms because, let's face it, even the most popular hip-hop writer has a shorter reach than a consistent YouTuber. We're ranking individuals, not shows. Though in a few cases, duos or collectives have made the cut based on their joint presence. We strive to be non-judgmental when evaluating content. Some names here trafficking clickbait or salacious material, okay? But they've built real audiences that impact cannot be overlooked. And finally, yes, once again, no one from Complex was eligible, so sorry, Speedy, but a few alums did make the list. Here is the 2025 hip-hop media ranking. Number 25 is John Caramanica. Okay, I don't even know who this guy is. I'm going to be honest. He was not ranked last year. He's featured on Popcast, New York Times. He's known for smart and insightful analysis of modern-day trends and what? Okay, he did a Clips interview, a RZA interview. He did a review of Super Bowl performance by Kendrick. So he's a pop critic for New York Times. Okay, all right. So he gets number 25. Number 24, Zeus and B-Lou. I think that's one of our favorite reactors, right? There's an art to reaction videos. Plenty have tried. Few do it consistently well as Zeus and B-Lou. They remain the best at blending sharp commentary with humor. Thanks to their natural chemistry and ability to riff off each other that feels effortlessly, their reaction to Not Like Us was so impactful. It was even cited in the Drake initial defamation lawsuit against UMG. True to form, they followed up with an even funnier reaction video, this time about the lawsuit itself. And one lawsuit don't stop a show. One of the highlights of Drake dropping What Did I Miss is Zelu and B-Lou's reaction video about the Iceman single. Okay. So Zeus and B-Lou get number 24. Then we get Arshawn Jawad. Okay. I don't know this person either. Oh, they're featured on Kids Takeover. I do know the platform. Last year, one of the most controversial additions to her list was Arshawn Jawad, the mastermind and face behind Kids Takeover. To quote Akademiks, I've never heard of this. Oh, they're quoting me. Okay, perfect. I've never heard of this nigga until I've seen this list. But a year later, not only we feel great about the decision, we're doubling down. Okay. Arshawn has been fire over the last 12 months. Literally, as I write this, Drake just reposted a clip of his interview with Lucky on his Instagram. Kids Takeover is a dope platform. I like it. He approaches interviews with real curiosity, genuine interest in the music, makes him an outlier in the landscape of bloodsuckers. He understands contemporary hip-hop as a genre. Like, Kids Takeover, by the way, is basically like No Jumper in 2017 when No Jumper is interviewing X, Lil Pump, and all these guys in like this popping off thing called SoundCloud rap. So, like No Jumper, that was their bread and butter. I think Kids Takeover, that's their thing now, like that they are the leading, right? Angela Yee makes number 22. She was 17 last year. She fell 5 spots. She has her own show, Way Up with Angela Yee, also a podcast, Angela Yee Lip Service, okay? By the way, keep me to 20 minutes on this chat because we got to get ready for Iceman. It's surprising that we realized, okay, in the 2 years with Way Up with Angela experience, the show's it already has that It's Always Been Here feeling with segments like Tell Us the Secrets where listeners overshare a little bit too much. We know the regulars like rapper Mano, who seems to always be a text message away. This speaks to the strength of local radio in a major market. If you have a right slot, you can offer this type of consistency that feels underrated on lists like this, which tends to reward big moments. But don't underestimate Angela Yee. She's a pro, still one of the most respected figures in rap media. After all these years, she remains a trusted ear some artists feels comfortable around, which can actually cause some issues. On her long-running sex podcast, Lip Service, Mexican OT got a little bit too relaxed and even shared a controversial view on the N-word, comments that he'd later walk back. Number 21, Bootleg Kev. He was ranked last year. He fell 7 spots, but, still made the list this year again. Has his own podcast and Bootleg Kev show. I believe that's on the radio. And this is a hip-hop nerd disguised as a host. He brings deep cut, obsessive energy and whatever. Okay, cool. Like Denzel Curry breaking down the Drake versus Kendrick. And fucking X-rated casually reflected on being cool with the Menendez brothers in prison. Kev has the most thorough coverage of Joey Badass and the Ray Vaughn dust-up, sitting down for extended conversations with both. Okay. Big Boy, number 20. Again, when I mention legends like Big Boy, I got to say Big Boy really is bigger than a list. One of the legends when it comes to talk radio, but also media personalities, so salute to him. He's number 20 on this list. It's a power ranking list, which means a frozen moment in time. He was 16. He fell 4 spots. He's known for his comedic timing, energetic interviews. Okay. All right, I'm not going to read everyone. Number 19, Nadeska Alexis. Shout out to Nadeska. I'm glad my sister, who I did Everyday Struggle with the entire time, is still very relevant in the game, still doing her thing. I grew to respect her honesty, her hard work, and ingenuity when it comes to like just media and content in general. She's gone on to Apple Music. I was a big proponent of her doing that, and I think she's done amazing things over there. So you'll never hear me speak a bad word about my sis, Nadeska Alexis. So congrats to her on 19. Number 18, DDG. Ooh, DDG. I feel like DDG could be up a little bit. He should be up a little bit higher on the list, right? He's been popping off on Twitch, as everybody knows. Definitely one of the biggest streamers, right, in the game currently. And here's the thing, is I have a prediction. DDG will be either completely off this list or top 3. He's one of the most famous people here with a romantic relationship and constantly making headlines and antics at Streamer University, dominating coverage. But is he really part of hip-hop media? You could argue that for a stretch he was, but he's becoming a leader in the hip-hop streaming world, taking the ethos of Plaque Max in the Booth series to another level, recording an album live with artists like Rob 49, Khalifa, Bia, The Baby, and more. The album might have not had a raging success, but I could appreciate the swing. At times, he's been a voice in the mix for news headlines. When Bad Baby was in the midst of her dust-up with Alabama Parker, she went to see DDG. Okay. I feel like it could be up higher on that list. Elliot Wilson makes number 17. He's known for conversations with rap legends, sparking hip-hop debates, and pissing off streamers or rappers who think they're doing journalism. Last year, Elliot Wilson was where was he ranked? Oh, he was, damn. He fell from 5 to 17, but he was 5 last year. Okay. Last year, he was one of the most prominent voices in the Kendrick and Drake beef, but without a back and forth of that scale this year. Sorry, Joey Badass and Ray Vaughn. It's been harder for him to find that narrative to latch on, and the bigger picture remains one of the better rap shows, and he's a vital part of it. So it's cool to see him get that momentum for another interview series, the Elliot Wilson Experience. But he's talked to a wide range of artists from Cash Cobain to Mac Homie. But it's telling that most of his moments actually capture the rap zeitgeist came from conflict, like when he revealed a fiery private voice note from Bow Wow, or when private tension from former partner B-Dot spilled into the open, or when Cameron or Elliot hashed out their intricacies. Interesting. DJ Head. garbage. I'm gonna just be honest. Like, it's just garbage. Like, I don't even know how you could be on this list, but okay. Whatever. Let's get past it. Jadakiss and Fat Joe. Interesting, because are they hip hop? Absolutely. Like, the very essence of what hip hop is probably bleeds out of the pores in the veins of Fat Joe and Jadakiss. Are they hip hop media? That remains to be seen. But I'll read a little write up on them real quick. It's almost given that a podcast hosted by Fat Joe and Jadakiss would be a hit. The duo, often hilarious chemistry built over the years of collaboration, shines in every episode. Joe takes the lead with a quick Joker story that is exaggerated to the 10th power, like he talked about the Taliban took the day off after Michael Jackson's death, while Kiss played the perfect sidekick, often looking exasperated by what he's hearing. They've only been doing the show for a few months, but they've developed or delivered viral moments, whether they're responding to one of our rankings or giving Jim Jones a platform to claim he got more hits than us. Shannon Sharp, 14. Interesting. I feel like Shannon Sharp, if we're talking about size of a platform, he could be higher on this list as well. I'm not going to read everyone, but shout out to Shannon. Definitely thinks he should be on it. Shannon's more of a he's a broad platform type of guy, but he definitely has had moments with hip-hop stuff. One thing I don't like about Complex, please, for the love of God, when you are giving these guys their flowers and putting them on your list, please don't mention certain stuff, like save it for another article. You probably did another article on it. You got to throw in sexual assault accusations while you're trying to talk this guy up? Like, come on. Like, bro, like the reality of it is this. We're not judging him on if he's an amazing person or if he likes snow bunnies. We're judging him if he's a good outlet and a good personality or he has power and influence within hip hop. Why the fuck are you mentioning sexual assault accusations? Which, by the way, is now settled. This should have been a deleted sentence. Come on now. Come on. You guys did the same thing with me last year. I didn't like it. Trap Lil Ross, my boy. Trap. I think Trap is an innovator. He's taken what I think a lot of people strive to do. Like, when I look at Trap Lil Ross, I look at me doing either Warren Chirac or whatever, but me doing it in really like this gun-ho, like super salacious, getting stuff from Twitter, which I think he still crowdsources his info, but he puts it together in such a very polished way. You know, I'm telling you, the next iteration of Trap Lore is going to be, you know, him creating these innovative documentaries that not only regurgitates and rehashes certain stuff that's already on social media, but we're all lazy to go look and compile. But he's going to get these exclusive interviews, and I think he's been stepping out there more. We now know his face. He's going to be the person who gets, like, the fucking interview that's going to be, like, you ever see these documentaries on Netflix? Like, I was just watching one on the Bin Laden stuff, and you're seeing some of these guys who are either former advisors to the president, or you're seeing the snipers, or you're seeing the guys who are actually involved in there, basically in a dark room, adding on to the documentary, and the documentary like really updates you and gives you a new perspective of everything that was going on. I think he's the guy, and I think that's the next iteration for him. I'm always glad when he makes the list. Ebro gets number 12. After more than 30 years in the game, he might be the best summed up as never officially released. What? Chill Ebro. He's built a reputation of strong opinions, standing firm in them. Rap Life Review remains consistently strong. Again, you know, I think Ebro is going to be on this list more of his power in the game. The dude controls Apple. Apple hip hop he controls. I think that's why he's more on this list more than like any of his opinions or ideas that's pushing the envelope or changing the conversation. Respectfully, Tim, I don't think there's nothing that Ebro has really said that sparked complete culture debate, but I do think he's I've said this before. That's how I never wanted to like beef with him, because I said this guy's too powerful. Like, you know, he's the global head of hip hop at Apple. Shit, how more powerful could you get, right? And he's still allowed to have an opinion, right? Nori. Interesting, because Nori's not here with his partner DJFN, who does Drink Champs with him, but Nori was at number 11 last year, and he stays number 11 this year. Congrats to Nori. Gilly and Wallow, they're at number 10. Last year, they were number 9. Interesting to say, I'll say this. It's interesting to see how this list is evolving over the years where I think before podcasts were the de facto number like top 5 slots. And you're seeing some of these guys because I agree with what Nori said before. There's really 3 poppin' podcasts in hip hop. You know, I don't count Brilliant Idiots as a hip hop podcast, but Drink Champs, Gillian Wallow, Joe Budden podcast, they're consistent. This and third. Obviously, I know I have my off the record, but I'm so inconsistent with it. We're just doing content in a wide, broad space more than just podcast things. With these guys, 99% of their content comes through their podcast. It's interesting to see. It feels like podcasts have lost a little bit of market share because would you say that Drink Champs is not relevant anymore? No. Like, it's very relevant. Same with Gillian Wallow. But it appears the streamers and streamer platforms have caught up to them a bit. Because, again, they went from being like top 5. Now we're watching Nori and Gillian Wallow, who are partnered in their ranking at 10, kind of slip to 10. All right, let's see 9. Okay. My mama said, if you don't got nothing nice to say, just skip past it. Okay, let me try to, can I say something constructive? I will say this. For all the glazing and penis saddling and dick sucking that happens, I will say this. And I hate to give these guys any credit. You know I don't like him, whatever. But I'm going to try to be objective to some extent. The better podcaster and the better talker between these two is clearly Ruri. However, I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that their podcast has gained an additional sense of relevance because of Mealy Mall. Why? Mealy Mall and his association to Drake, and he's been, for better or for worse, a credible source. Again, I always tell y'all it's important to have that plug to the biggest artist. And, I think, as much as I'll say about every outlet, this is why sometimes it's good when you do pick a side. I know theoretically the fans want you to be completely neutral, but we're all humans too, and you end up kind of picking a side. Mealy Mall clearly picked Drake's side, and I'm going to be honest with you, it helped their platform. I thought their platform was about to die. I thought they were on their way out. And once that battle jumped off, them being aligned with Drake, I think helped their platform, even if you don't want to consider Drake winning the battle. I think it helped them because it gave them, you see, all the other guys, they were echo room, dot arrow. Like, you're like, what the fuck is a dot arrow? Like, they're just saying stuff, right? Like, DJ Head's just talking out of his ass. Like, you're like, okay. But then these guys, they were coming with like this little bit back and forth talk. I think Ruri did I've seen some clips, so I think he did a decent job of challenging Mealy Mall. And Mealy Mall, kind of always stuck to his guns. Like, he's who LeBron should be. Let's be honest, right? Mealy Mall is who LeBron should be, loyal. Like, you can't get Mealy Mall to like, I'm gonna lie, I think Mealy Mall is more loyal than me. Because I'll sit here and criticize Drake. Mealy Mall will not. Which, again, I think it's turned out good for his career because, look, they're number 9 on this list. And I'm telling you, the way how I squashed these two years ago, it's only God. It's a miracle from God they're even on this list. Or even alive, period. Okay? So, all right, whatever. Anthony Fantano. I can't say he doesn't deserve to be on this list or doesn't deserve the position. What I will say about the position is that, well, not his position, I guess him. I hate that he represents the beta male wokeness that I'm hoping hip hop gets rid of. He's like the white knight, the soapbox, he's always like value signaling or whatever that's called. Like, he's always the guy who's trying to yeah, he's a very intricate hip hop reviewer, but the more you hear this guy, he aligns with feminists. And if we go back to the history of hip hop and how just the culture where hip hop comes from, like, you just start realizing, like, this nigga right here is just like, yeah, you could listen to it for some technicalities about an album, but come on, bro. Come on. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, when I see this nigga, I expect him, like, he's probably wearing a thong. This guy's a feminist. You get what I'm saying? And to me and no feminists, especially no hip-hop feminists, will ever align in opinions, all right? Just me. But 8, he got an audience. Like all the little beta males, soy boys, they love him, and I understand why. Okay, he's the always he's the guy on Twitter that will go viral off some shit like seeming like he's above the fray. Come on, come on. Which this is why like a nigga like this, like we all know niggas like Kodak, Young Boy. Like when he talks about them, I'm like, I don't care. You need to talk about Tyler the Creator or something, right? Like yeah, that's your lane. Tyler the Creator and like auxiliary left field hip hop. We don't want to hear you talk about the rest of hip hop, my nigga. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? Nardwuar, not too sure what he did in the last year, but he's such a legend. I'm just not gonna question the ranking, right? Pretty sure he had some big moments. Him and Tyler probably did some stuff. Okay, all right. I'm not even gonna question it. DJ Vlad. Yo, let me tell you this. It's interesting the thing with Vlad. Vlad was talking to me about retiring from hip hop media, or just retiring from doing content, period. And Vlad has worked tirelessly over 20 plus years, trying to get the recognition. At first, he couldn't get any like signed artists. I think personally, he started the wave of taking the quote unquote irrelevance or washed up artists and making them a thing in terms of giving them voices and making them interesting. And now I think the hip hop sphere, in terms of interviews, the interviews that do the most numbers aren't necessarily from artists. It's from people who wouldn't be on the Breakfast Club and this and third. It's just people who are personalities. Vlad has created a bunch of those, and we got to give him credit. I think he's in his prime right now still. So congrats to Vlad. Number 6, he remains with his ranking. Charlemagne the God, Big Charla. He falls one spot. Obviously, we know he's the lead on the Breakfast Club. Very impressive. To me, he's the radio GOAT. He's a media GOAT. I literally believe that if everybody had to go, if this was golf and everybody got to just stand on their own foot and it's 1v1, v1, 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 I believe that when it comes to being on this here microphone, there's two people nobody gonna fuck with. I don't think nobody fucks with Star, and I don't think nobody fucks with Charlemagne. Okay, Joe, you in that top 3 or top 5? Joe's really good on the microphone as well. All pun intended, rapping too. But to me, Charla, Star, them niggas, especially in their heyday, unfuckable with, right? He still commands. These days for Charlemagne, I think it's his power manifest in what he's doing for others. I'll admit, I think he's tried to put on a bunch of people, some unsuccessful, but he's trying. I think Charlemagne realizes his influence at this point is not in a hot take or a hot opinion. It's about what he could build, whether he's trying to publish somebody's book or trying to put somebody on. And I think this is why Charlemagne always is going to have a top 5 spot. He doesn't even have to have a big interview, even though he always has big interviews. The guy interviews political candidates to presidential candidates. Come on now. It's undoubted, okay? Now, some people, the knock against him would be like, well, he toned it down, whatever. He might not have the most salacious hip-hop takes. Maybe he's like, grew out of hip-hop a little bit. But still, nevertheless, the platform and his presence alone is big enough that it still always impacts it. So, salute to Charlemagne, dropped 1 spot. Plattboy Max is number 4. I don't even know if he was on the list last year. Wasn't on the list, but he breaks into the list with an impressive debut. Number 4. And I'm going to be honest with you, very well deserved, man. This guy is, to me, he did something for a piece of hip-hop that where outlets like myself, No Jumper, and a lot of other outlets that have just kind of grew up at this point or, kind of got our legs under us, we've not really, especially me, I haven't really given that much focus to these really dope artists that are on the come up. They're not superstars yet, but they have followings. Plattboy Max's In the Booth series bodied it. I thought he did a phenomenal job. To me, definitely deserves a top 5. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think he also set a trend in how new artists could interact with media, right? He's not even media, he's like an artist, right? He's an artist, media. Like, he's kind of like this entity. So, salute to Plattboy Max. And by the way, for everybody, me and Max, we've talked a bunch of times. He's reached out. Everything's cool. So congratulations to him, and I hope he continues. I know he doesn't want to be just trapped in one lane. Like I'm in the booth guy because he does many more things, but I hope he continues to do that because trust me, he gave voices to a lot of young artists, in a time where I don't think they know how to get voices. Watching Bass Swag, watching 4-1, watching DC the Don on there, watching all these great rappers who were, in that series, whether it was like like these song wars, I think it was amazing. So very well deserved. Number 4. Number 3, we get to Big Joey. Big Joey. Not gonna lie, Joe. I'm gonna keep it a bean with you, brother. This year, I was like, I said, first year you were number 1, and I was number 2. Second year, I was number 1. You was number 2. The third year, not gonna lie, Joe, you did your thing. I seen you put up the little 20 mil number. All right, making 20 mil a year. I like it. I seen you put up the billboards in Times Square. I see it. I see you hop on the PJ today. Congrats, my brother. This was the year I'm like, they came for me with a cancellation. I was fighting a little bit, but I said, Joey might get me this year. By the way, it's the friendliest competition ever. Me and Joe, we got on the phone after the Drake thing, and we said to each other, yo, whether niggas say Kendrick won or Drake won, I'll tell you who else won. Us, nigga. Us. That was the honest truth. I think, during that time, people universally went either to Joe's platform or to me, whether I was reacting to songs, breaking songs, or they were going to Joe for these hot takes and reactions. And, one of the things I'll say about him, too, Joe is very shrewd. He has a really great way of analyzing music. And also, I think now we're watching him in his Vince McMahon bag, if you ask me. I think he's gotten, when I look over there, it looks like chaos, clusterfuck. But makes sense and has been making money, right? Like he has about 9 people on the cast, switches them out. I think Jadakiss' son was on there for a second. He brings him in, puts him over there, benches him for a little bit, brings another guy in, and everything kind of works. It kind of shows the dynamic talent that Joe was. I always go back to kind of giving him credit. When I first did Everyday Struggle, I did like they already knew they wanted me, but they were like, yo, let's do like a test run. So we went to do like almost not a rehearsal, but it was like a test little thing for like, and it was supposed to be for like 10, 15 minutes. After 3 minutes of conversation and arguing with me and Joe says, cut it. He's the guy. And that type of ingenuity and that type of, ability to spot content and be able to say, I could take this piece and I know his personality is this. I could evoke certain stuff. I watch him. Joe's a master. I watch him on his podcast. He evokes anger when he wants to evoke anger out of whether it's Melissa or whether it's Flip or whether it's Ish or, I see him use Mark Lamont and he juxtapose his opinions versus somebody else. And he really weaves a really entertaining web. So, congrats to Joe. Again, Joe, if you were number 2 above me, I wouldn't be mad. I think you did your big one this year. Congratulations, man, for all the hard work. Number 2, it's none other than your boy. They got your boy up here. After I was number 1 last year, I didn't have the nicest thing to say about Complex because I didn't like the write-up. And I don't even know if I want to read the write-up, so I'm going to let y'all read it. But I was wondering, I'm like, where am I going to fall this year? Obviously, you guys know when it comes to narratives, when it comes to setting the tone, setting conversations, bringing certain things to life, whether I'm liked or hated, I think we do a really good job. Whether, a lot of times we're viral either on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X, and people are saying, yo, fuck this guy. Why is he, we don't like his opinion. But it's never something where like, yeah. And I've always said that's the strongest part. I don't try to be, Charlamagne told me back in the days, like, you never want to be a shock jock. He never liked that word. He said shock jock says things for the shocking aspect or shock value. Say things that you mean. And for me, the way I analyze culture and the way I think about stuff, all of my opinions, I'm not saying it to be shocking. I'm not saying it to stand out. I'm not saying it to be a contrarian. I'm saying it because I believe it. And, fortunately for me, people have polarizing opinions or ideas about it. Some people really like it. Some people really hate it. And With that being said, Complex, I'm gonna thank you. I know I know y'all gonna put some weird shit in the write up. I do not even want to. Goddamn. Okay, I don't even want to read it. I'm not even want to read it. I don't even want to read it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Number one, Big Kai. Kai Cenat. Kai is number one, I believe, in everything. I think Kai should be the number one guy for every fucking thing. I think me and Joe, we had said to each other, hey, we love this back and forth because, and also we love the, Charlemagne's in the mix and a couple other media personalities. And we love it because we've worked very hard to get to this point. But we were always saying, when is Kai going to pass us? Because it's reality. Kai has an incredibly huge platform, whether you want to call him hip-hop or not. I don't think he brands or tries to say he's a hip-hop aficionado, but he's a young kid with an opinion. Usually his age range is where the majority of hip-hop targets. He's kept his integrity. He's doubled down, let people know I can't be bought, and I respect that about him. I told you, I've always heard numbers that people were down to throw out to try to influence his opinion. $100,000, and he turned it all down. He was like, if I like it, I like it. I don't. I don't want to be bought. I've always respected somebody who never could be bought, no matter how big you get, no matter how. And again, I've always said, if they could buy your opinion, you don't matter. Again, I don't think Kai would sit here and say he knows everything about hip-hop or knows the history all throughout this and third, or knows every artist. He likes what he likes. He's very influential with what he likes, and he does give shine to a lot of artists and a lot of particular type of music that he's into. So, well-deserved. I think that him bridging how big streaming has got and him always having some type of foothold or anchor when it comes to hip-hop, I think that's very admirable, and I think he's leading the whole charge in letting people know that it's the changing of the guards. Yes, hip-hop media doesn't have to look like sitting in a radio station with songs playing and you talking for 2 minutes every 15 minutes. No, it could look like a kid who's dancing on stream, who's doing IRL, who might link A-Boogie in the studio to check out his album, who might, be like producing the Somebody Who Loves Me video. He's really good, and I'm not going to lie. Congratulations to Kai. So congrats. I think this list is good. I do want to make a few honorable mentions. Complex, I don't know what you got against Adam 22. I think it's criminal that he's not on here. I'm being honest with you. I know he does porn. I know he does this. I know he's white. I get all the things that people would say about him. I know people say, he's... Listen, I say some of this stuff too. Like, you're doing a lot of gang stuff. But his platform... And I know it's not a platform thing. I think Adam is, looking at this list, Adam should be on this list. We got to be honest. Last year, I gave him 22. Him not being on the list is kind of like, okay, come on. Right? Number 2, Whack 100. I'm sorry to tell y'all. And maybe y'all just don't consider them hip-hop media, but y'all consider Kai hip-hop media. Y'all consider DDG hip-hop media. Y'all consider Blackboy Max hip-hop media. Y'all consider people who do multifaceted things, but also hip-hop media. I think Whack 100 is too. So I'm going to be honest with you. I think Whack 100, I think Adam 22, they should both be on it. I'm not saying they should be in the top 5, top 10, but I think it's kind of disrespectful you guys don't put them on at all. Right? Who else? Who else are we missing? Somebody says Charleston White. Charleston's on some list. You see, we're broadening the idea of a hip-hop media outlet or media personality, but possibly, right? Charleston White. Somebody says Brandon Buckingham. I don't really get along with that guy. He doesn't really seem to, give a damn about me either, but I think Brandon belongs on it too. And maybe I'm a little bit biased towards maybe newer age independent content creator, but Brandon Buckingham, he's been doing some hip hop shit. He did some impactful stuff over the last year. I wouldn't be mad if he's on it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Who else? Sean Cotton. Yeah, I'm always, I think Sean is starting to more expand on his personality side. Definitely, I believe Sean, if it was a platform situation, and I'm pretty sure this will be Complex response like, well, Adam wouldn't make it for personality, but No Jumper would make it for platform. And I'm like, but like, I don't know. All right, anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? I'm trying to give everybody their flowers. Like, who do you think got left off? I'm saying Adam Wack and sure, Brandon Buckingham, right? Who else? By the way, we are 5 minutes supposedly away from Iceman, but I know Drake finna be late. Somebody says Art of Dialogue. I think that would be under the umbrella of platforms, 100%. Somebody said Tasha K. Man, y'all are trolling. Y'all are trolling. Somebody said No Jumper is not a person. How To Man says, bro, I'm telling you, you, Flacco, and Joe are at the top of hip hop media right now. After y'all, it may be Vlad. I think, listen, I want to give some props to Flacco. Flacco, I think next year, man, you might get that debut on this list. Flacco's been working incredibly hard. I see him taking some of the complicated, very controversial stories. My only thing I would ever say to Flacco is just always ensure accuracy and that you're on your shit. But I think Flacco is working his way. You never know next year. And I think the only reason why Flacco isn't on this list is that hip hop media is waiting for that big moment. Like, they're almost waiting for that joining Complex moment that I had, right? When I joined Complex, like, they're looking for the, oh, Flacco has arrived moment. And, I don't know if it happens at No Jumper, but I think it'll happen if either does a show somewhere, collaborates with it has to be something that he kind of figures out, but that is going to give him probably all the recognition and put him in the conversations I would assume he wants to be, All right. Okay. All right. Bet. 5 minutes away from Iceman, people. By the way, Complex, thank you, guys. I'm not going to read the review. I'm not going to read it. Let me Google it. Okay. Nah, I'm not going to read it. Complex, thank you. Chat, when I see this, it gives me incredible, I'm one of those people where no matter what, I always feel like I'm not working hard enough. And I know some of y'all be like, of course you're not working hard enough, nigga. You can't even do the 30 for 30. But I hope in the next 12 months I could up the ramp up the work ethic, ramp up some of the ideas, and bring certain things to life, and be super confident going into next year. I'm not doing it for a list, but like I also don't do this job to be number two. I do this job to be number one. You get what I'm saying? And I know competing with Kai is, I don't know if you could ever. But they claim it's not a numbers game when it comes to this. So, hopefully this next year we could even be more successful. And I'm going to find different ways to try to push myself. And, I love the fact that you guys are here to support me. I always say nothing bigger than the chat, and we'll figure it out. Right? Cool.